Tonight, we look at a story that cuts to the very core of American democracy, a moment that will be remembered for generations to come. The nation stands at a crossroads, facing questions that challenge the very foundation of our system of government. For the first time in American history, a former president, Donald Trump, stands at a legal crossroads never seen before. The world watches as he enters the courthouse, surrounded by lawyers and a media frenzy, symbolizing the gravity of this unprecedented situation. A court order, stemming from a personal matter, has ignited a national debate over the limits of presidential authority. This legal battle is not just about one individual, but about the boundaries of power and responsibility at the highest level. This is not just about one man, it's a defining moment reshaping the presidency, with consequences that will echo for generations. The eyes of the nation are fixed on the outcome, as Americans from all walks of life grapple with what this means for the future of leadership. Can a president truly be held accountable for actions taken while in office? Legal experts, citizens, and lawmakers are all weighing in as the debate intensifies across the country. Where is the line between official duty and personal conduct? The distinction is now under the microscope, as courts and commentators try to define the limits of presidential immunity. The answers are being forged now, in real time, in New York and at the Supreme Court. These proceedings are setting new precedents for presidential power and accountability, shaping the legal landscape for years to come. What happens next will impact every future president and every American citizen. The decisions made in these courtrooms will influence how we view the presidency and the rule of law. Allies and adversaries worldwide are watching closely to see how America handles this extraordinary challenge. The outcome will send a message about the strength and resilience of American democracy. Will this moment prove that no one is above the law, or will it expand protections for the highest office in the land? The stakes could not be higher, as the nation awaits a verdict that will define our era. The story is still unfolding, with new developments emerging every day. Reporters, analysts, and citizens alike are watching for the next chapter in this historic saga. We begin with the case that started it all, a flashpoint for a much larger constitutional question, one that will shape the future of the presidency and the nation itself. To truly understand the current legal fight surrounding Donald Trump, we must go back to its origins and trace how it all began. This case is rooted in a series of events that unfolded years ago, setting the stage for a historic courtroom showdown. The controversy centers on actions taken just before the 2016 presidential election. Prosecutors argued that Trump and his associates orchestrated a secretive scheme to suppress stories that could have damaged his campaign, aiming to protect his public image and electoral chances. The most well-known incident involved a $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. This payment was allegedly made to ensure her silence about an affair she claimed to have had with Trump, keeping the story out of the headlines during a crucial time. While making such a payment isn't illegal by itself, the real issue arose from how it was documented. Prosecutors claimed the payment was falsely recorded as legal expenses in business records, raising serious legal questions. As a result, Trump was charged with falsifying business records in order to conceal the payment and, according to prosecutors, to unlawfully influence the outcome of the election. This elevated the charges from misdemeanors to felonies, making the stakes even higher. Trump's defense team countered by insisting that his actions were meant to protect his family from embarrassment, not to sway voters. They also argued that the entire case was driven by political motives, fueling intense debate across the country. After weeks of dramatic testimony and intense media coverage, a New York jury ultimately found Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts, marking a dramatic and unprecedented moment in American legal history. This verdict made Trump the first former U.S. president ever to be convicted of a crime, sending shockwaves through the nation and around the world. Although Trump was sentenced to an unconditional discharge, meaning he faced no jail time, the conviction itself was a watershed moment, raising questions about accountability and the rule of law at the highest levels. The verdict set the stage for Trump's next move, a determined and highly publicized effort to overturn the conviction through the appeals process, vowing to fight the decision in higher courts. As the legal battle continued, it became clear that the story was far from over, with implications that could shape American politics and justice for years to come. After the guilty verdict, Trump's legal team launched a new strategy, moving the case from New York State to federal court. This is their third attempt, underscoring its importance. They argue some conduct, like reimbursement payments to Michael Cohen in 2017, occurred while Trump was president, making it a federal matter. Federal law allows state criminal cases against federal officials to be moved if they relate to official duties. The Manhattan DA strongly opposes, insisting the case is about personal conduct before Trump became president. The tug of war is over whether this is about a private citizen's actions or official presidential conduct. If moved to federal court, Trump's lawyers could argue for dismissal based on presidential immunity, recently redefined by the Supreme Court. The fight over jurisdiction is more than procedural. It's a battle for the survival of the case. The outcome could set a precedent for how former presidents are prosecuted. The stakes couldn't be higher. The next step, a skeptical federal judge. At the center of this high-stakes legal battle stands federal judge Alvin Hellerstein, a seasoned jurist known for his sharp questioning and no-nonsense approach in the courtroom. Judge Hellerstein has now twice denied former President Trump's request to move his criminal case from state to federal court, a move Trump's legal team believes could offer a more favorable venue. During the most recent hearing, Judge Hellerstein pressed Trump's attorneys, questioning why they waited so long to seek federal intervention, rather than acting immediately after charges were filed. He pointedly suggested that the defense made a calculated strategic decision to fight the case in state court first, and now must face the consequences of that choice, rather than seeking a federal forum from the outset. Judge Hellerstein has consistently maintained that the conviction centers on Trump's personal conduct, not on any official presidential duties or actions taken while in office. However, the legal landscape shifted when the Second Circuit Court of Appeals intervened, ordering Judge Hellerstein to take another look at the case. The appellate court specifically asked whether any evidence in the case could be tied to Trump's official acts as president, raising new questions about the boundaries between personal and official conduct. Now, Judge Hellerstein must carefully examine whether any aspect of the alleged hush money scheme, such as checks signed in the Oval Office or documents bearing the presidential seal, could be interpreted as part of Trump's official presidential responsibilities. If he determines that even a small portion of the conduct is linked to official acts, the entire case could be transferred to federal court, dramatically altering its trajectory. If not, Trump's primary recourse will be to pursue a standard appeal through the state court system, a path that may offer fewer protections and less favorable precedent. The judge's upcoming decision is critical, carrying enormous implications not just for Trump, but for the broader question of presidential accountability. The Second Circuit's order has given Trump's team a glimmer of hope, injecting new uncertainty into the proceedings. The legal maneuvering is far from over, and the future of the case now hangs in the balance, watched closely by legal experts, political observers, and the public alike. The outcome of this legal battle could ultimately redefine the boundaries of presidential accountability, setting a precedent for how former presidents are treated under the law. For now, all eyes remain fixed on the federal courthouse, as the nation awaits Judge Hellerstein's pivotal decision. While the New York drama unfolds, a bigger story is being written in Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court's recent term produced decisions that have fundamentally reshaped presidential power. The most significant former presidents now have presumptive immunity for official acts. The court ruled a president must be protected from prosecution for actions taken as part of their job, unless proven purely personal. This creates a high barrier for prosecutors and directly benefits Trump. Trump's lawyers now argue that signing reimbursement checks in the White House was an official act, and he should be immune. The Supreme Court has handed future presidents a powerful shield against legal challenges. This shift bolsters the White House's power and weakens traditional checks from the courts. It raises profound questions about accountability and the balance of power. The legal landscape for presidential authority has changed, possibly forever. The implications reach far beyond this one case. The Supreme Court didn't stop at immunity. Another ruling limited federal judges' power to issue nationwide injunctions, orders that can block government policy across the country. These injunctions were often used to halt major policies during the Trump administration. Now, the court has made it harder for a single judge to stop a president's agenda nationwide. Legal challenges must play out in multiple courts, slowing opposition and giving the executive branch more freedom. This is a major victory for the presidency, allowing policies to proceed while legal battles unfold. The court's decisions on immunity and injunctions shift power toward the president and away from the judiciary. For Trump, these rulings provide a powerful legal arsenal. The rules of presidential accountability have fundamentally changed. The balance of power in government is being rewritten. These legal decisions ripple through politics, the economy, and society. Strengthening presidential power makes it easier to enact policies and harder for opponents to challenge them, fueling political polarization. Economically, a president with fewer legal roadblocks can create both stability and uncertainty, benefiting some industries, harming others. Businesses must now adapt to a government that can act faster and with more authority. Socially, Supreme Court rulings on issues like gender-affirming care and parental rights directly affect millions of Americans. Abstract legal principles translate into real-world outcomes, what leaders are accountable for, what children learn, and how regulations are enforced. The court's decisions shape the daily lives and rights of all Americans. The impact is immediate and far-reaching. To make sense of this legal maze, we turn to constitutional law expert Professor David Cole. He explains Trump's push to federal court as a high-stakes, long-shot maneuver, an attempt to change the rules after losing in state court. The Supreme Court's new immunity ruling is the key Trump's lawyers hope to use. The fight now is over, what counts as an official act. The defense is trying to stretch that definition to cover actions most see as personal. Professor Cole warns the Supreme Court has enhanced presidential power, weakening checks on the executive. This shift creates a more imperial presidency, less accountable to courts and the public. The legal fight in New York is just one part of a much larger change. Whether Trump's team succeeds or fails, the landscape of presidential power is permanently altered. The consequences will be felt for years to come. Tonight, we've explored a legal saga that began with a hush money payment and now tests the limits of presidential power. The effort to move Trump's conviction to federal court is a test case for the new landscape shaped by the Supreme Court. The outcome will impact the principle that no one is above the law. The Supreme Court's recent decisions have fortified the executive branch and raised critical questions for all Americans. Do we want a presidency with fewer checks and balances? How do we ensure accountability? The stakes are clear: the balance of power, the rights of citizens, and the definition of justice. The future of presidential accountability is being decided now, in our courts and in our national consciousness. Every American has a stake in the verdict that's still being written.